Hi there, my name's Alana and today we are going to be doing just kind of an old-fashioned, a classic get ready with me. Now, many of the products that we are trying today are either brand new to my collection and I've only used them like once, or I am using them on camera for the first time ever. The other thing that we're doing today is we're going to continue testing out Charlotte's Beautiful Skin Foundation. This is her brand new launch. I've already done a first impressions video, which I'm going to leave linked down below, but I did promise in that video that I'm going to continue to test out this product, see how I like wearing it, what bases I like with it, setting, wear time, all of that good stuff, application methods. So I thought, you know what, let's film this, let's do a get ready. There's a couple other videos I want to film today too, so I need to have my makeup done. And I thought we could just get ready together. The other thing I'm excited about in this video is instead of skipping over brows and winged liner, I show you like right up close and personal how I apply those products step by step. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, then just keep watching because we're getting started right now. We're going to be starting off with Laura Mercier's Pure Canvas Primer. This is the hydrating version and it is silicone free. Next, I have the Chanel Concealer in shade 10 Beige. So overall, that primer felt very hydrating and soft and easy to apply to my skin. It was very, very lightweight, which was great. Just really, really pleasant. It doesn't really feel like anything. It doesn't look like anything. But I'm hoping that it'll just add an extra layer of hydration underneath my skin for when we go in and we apply this new Charlotte Tilbury foundation that we're going to be testing out. So the other thing I'm excited to be testing out is these brushes. Now, if you've heard me talk about brushes, you've probably heard this 1,000 times, but my preference for powder products is natural hair brushes, and currently my go-to is basically anything from Rephr. But when it comes to liquid and cream, my preference tends to be synthetic. And anyway, so I got a Complex Culture brush in my Ipsy a couple months ago and I've been really enjoying it. So BoxyCharm had a number of Complex Culture brushes. Just by background, Complex Culture is one of the in-house brands. It's part of Ipsy. Ipsy now owns BoxyCharm and they had a really good price on these foundation and concealer brushes. Anyway, so both of these brushes are very dense, which is what I definitely prefer when it comes to applying things like foundation and concealer. They have a bit of a unique triangle shape, which is so far really interesting, like kind of the motion I'm doing right now, but getting into those nooks and crannies around the eyes. I don't know if I'm obsessed with this concealer brush as it stands. It is like a touch scratchier than I prefer. I really like my synthetic brushes when we are using it for liquid and cream to be very, very soft. But I think it's done a decent job at blending out and I paid next to nothing for it. So like I don't dislike it. I'd use this again. I'll be keeping this in my sort of go-to brush sort of compartment up until I decide that I don't like it. Okay, so we've got that kind of blended in. So now we're going to be going in with Charlotte's Beautiful Skin Foundation. So I did post a first impressions of that foundation. We're going to start with one pump. I posted a first impressions of that over the weekend. I'm not sure what day I'm posting this particular video, but anyways, I posted that and there's a lot of things I liked about it. I liked it more and more sort of as the foundation wore on my skin, but I wasn't head over heels for it. Now, there are some other more in-depth reviews on YouTube, but those tended to come from makeup artists who work for Charlotte Tilbury. And so they've actually had the advantage of being able to like use this product and learn this product and enjoy this product over the last couple of weeks. So I think that they have maybe a more pulled together understanding of the product, whereas for me, when I posted that first impressions, I had obviously only had that product in my collection for, I think I said in that video, less than 24 hours. So what I'm going to be doing, and this is totally repeated if you've watched that video, over the course of the next, I'm not sure if it's going to take me a week, a couple weeks. I'm not really in a rush or on a timeline, but at some point this month, I will post a more in-depth review once I figured out exactly my favorite way to apply it, once I figured out what primers I like with it, what I like to set it with, how it wears, just all of those things. Once I've had a chance to figure those things out for myself, then I will post a bit of a follow-up. So this is my skin using just one pump, and it does look good. It looks very skin-like. I am going to add just like a dab more. It's not, I wouldn't even call it a half pump, but I just want to cover up Got a little bit of a breakout action happening, which I'm not loving. So anyway, so let's go back to this larger brush. I will say with this particular brush series from Complex Culture, it doesn't really lend itself to sort of long strokes. It kind of makes me just want to do sort of just little sort of buffing motion kind of strokes. I am actually really enjoying the triangle shape though. I find it's been really great to get into those nooks and crannies on my face. And again, it's a little scratchier than I'd prefer, but I think it's really nice, especially, you know, if you don't look at like the full price value that they sell it for and you look at instead the price that you can get it for from Ipsy and BoxyCharm. I think it's pretty good. So I still do have that issue that I outlined in my first impressions of the Beautiful Skin Foundation, and that is that it pulls a little warm. So I'm wearing 2 neutral, and this definitely feels more like a warm tone foundation to me. There is like kind of a little bit color differentiation. I typically wear shade 2 neutral from her. Now I've been told that this is a different shade range than some of her other foundations. Generally speaking, I think a brand should, you know, be consistent in their coloring. But anyways, it pulls more warm tone than I'd like for a neutral foundation. So I'm going back in with my concealer brush from Complex Culture, going with my MAC Paint Pot and Painterly, and we're going to prime my eyes. Okay, I think this brush is a little big for this activity. So I don't normally do a step-by-step tutorial on how I do my brows, but I thought I would just put one in here today. Again, I don't do this every time, but I find sometimes people really benefit from a very sort of detailed brow tutorial. So I'm starting off with my Charlotte Tilbury Brow Lift. This is very similar to Benefit's Goof Proof in that it has a sort of a larger tip. And what I start just doing is kind of just doing little tiny strokes to just sort of block in the shape and fill in the shape. And again, I'm just doing really, really light, gentle little strokes. We're not like coloring it in. We're not putting a lot of pressure. We're just kind of just filling in the shape we already have. One of my biggest tips for brows actually is to have your brows done regularly. So I get my brows done about every 6 weeks. I do a wax and tint from Benefit at my local Sephora. And anyways, one thing I'm sort of doing is I'm just looking, and I know on my brows there's some places where the hair is a little bit more sparse, so that's where I really focus my attention. So I like to think of this product, this larger pencil product, as giving us our base for our brow. It's giving us our shape. You know, honestly, I could go outside like this and I'd feel fine, but we're gonna go in a little more precise. So this is Brow Cheat from Charlotte Tilbury. And again, you might like Precisely My Brow from Benefit, but you just want a smaller brow pencil. So what I do is I start in the inner part of my brow and I just do a couple of light upward hair-like strokes. And then kind of underneath at the bottom part of my brow, I'm just doing a little tiny side-to-side motion. And then I just do sort of little, almost diagonal hair-like strokes until I reach the arch of my brow. And then I'm doing little tiny hair-like strokes on the way down. And then I just repeat that on this side. But I think the biggest tip I have when you're using a brow pencil type product is you just want to do little tiny strokes. And then I'm just sort of looking in the mirror and I'm just thinking, is there any part where it's kind of missing a little bit? And so I'm just kind of going back and forth and evening it out. Then I take the spoolie and I just kind of brush the hair on sort of almost like a 45-degree angle. Well, not exactly. We're going to start in the middle. I'm going kind of straight up for the first 2. And then I'm starting to drag it more in that 45-degree angle and then dragging it downward after the arch. Just to help set everything in place, just sticking to the same hair motions, I'm going with Legendary Brows. So we're going to go with some Flawless Filter. I haven't tried Flawless Filter with this new foundation yet. So we're going to be trying it sort of as a highlighter base. Now, if you are not as familiar with Flawless Filter, I'll leave a video linked down below where I went over 4 different ways that you can use the product, but it's a super versatile sort of glowing complexion product. I'm taking this Complex Culture brush and I'm just sort of flicking the product out to help spread it around on my face. I feel like the Beautiful Skin Foundation sort of set without me really doing anything to it, and when I put on the Flawless Filter, it sort of, with the brush, it sort of picked up a little bit of the coverage. Okay, so for my eyeshadow today, I'm actually going with the same quad that I wore in my Beautiful Skin review, and that is the Rebel. So you guys know that I got this as a Christmas gift from my parents. We're going to be starting off with the Sonia G brush, and we're going to go in with this sort of gold shade all over our lid as our base. So you guys know I got this as a gift from my parents for Christmas because it's one of the very few Charlotte Tilbury quads that I didn't already own, which is just crazy for me. Like, I own so many Charlotte Tilbury palettes and quads. I'll leave a video linked down below where I did a ranking of them last year. My collection has grown since then, so let me know in the comments down below if you'd like to see an updated version of that ranking. Because I've definitely picked up a number of quads since then. I think what's really interesting about the Rebel, and what really drew me to this product, is so many of her quads are in the pink and nude family, which I love, but then she has this beautiful olive green palette. Okay, so we're going to be going in with this green shade up here in our transition. Sorry, so she has so many beautiful sort of nude and pink palettes, and so I'm always just so drawn to those. But then I just thought, you know what, let's try this one out. I just thought it just seemed really beautiful and sophisticated and not exactly holiday. Like, I don't really think Christmas when I see the Rebel. But anyways, the reason I ended up getting it was on Black Friday. She had this great promo. She does this often when she does sales where she'll let you get 3 of her sort of core staple quads. Each quad has to be a different color though, and the 3 of them together are at a super discounted price. And so I talked to my mom, and so when we were ordering Christmas gifts, I got one, my mom got one, and my brother's girlfriend got one. So I think I got Pillow Talk for my brother's girlfriend because I thought that'd be really, really pretty on her. And then I got, she has a bit of a different complexion than mine, and I just thought it would really flatter her in a way that I don't really find it as flattering on myself. And then for my mom, we got her Golden Goddess. We're gonna go in with this shade here as our smoke shade. And I think this shadow is actually my favorite in the palette, which is so weird for me because it's so dark, but it's like this, almost like a matte with shimmer in it, which again, normally I don't like as a formula, but this one, it's just so, so beautiful. And we're just going to blend it out. It just, I don't know, it's just such a beautiful shadow. It's a great formula. It's so buildable, so blendable, and like the amount of coverage you can build up just with a brush. You know, normally I find you have to use your finger to get that kind of coverage, but it just, I don't know, it's just so nice to work with. It doesn't really have any fallout, but it, like, the glitter still comes through, and then you blend it in. It's just, I just think it's super, super pretty. Like, I honestly didn't know that I could feel that way about an olive green sparkly matte eyeshadow. Like, I just didn't know. So we're gonna use that same shade. We're gonna go in with a small pencil brush. This one's by Refer, it's their number 3. And we're just kind of tapping it in there. And we are going to drag this just under our eye for a bit, just to kind of smoke it out. So I'm gonna try this pop shade here. And what I also couldn't get over yesterday was just how much I liked this pop shade. And I'm just gonna stick it on the middle of the lid because I kind of like that lighter gold we have going on right in the middle. So I'm just kind of packing that on with a Too Faced shader brush. And then I'm just going to take a cleaner sort of blending brush and just help diffuse the edges. Again, normally in my makeup tutorials, I'll skip this step and I'll just be like, oh, I put on my eyeliner. But I thought, again, you know what, this is going to be a longer video, so I'm just going to take you through my eyeliner process. So I use my Tom Ford eye defining pen. I've tried so many different eyeliner pens. A pen form is definitely my favorite way to get that winged liner. So the first thing we're going to do, I'm going to take my left hand, so I'm right-handed, and I'm going to just sort of gently pull up the skin about here, just so it's a little bit up and a little bit tighter. And I just find that really helps the pen move easily. So what I do is I look down and I start with my pen in the middle of my eye. So I can't talk through this part, so you're gonna have to watch and then we'll talk more. So after starting in the middle, I dragged the pen to the outer part of my eye, and then I sort of just did a flick up. My biggest advice is whatever flick you get, that's the flick you get. you know, if you try to erase it, then you have to like reblend the eyeshadow. You're just creating more opportunities for it to look messy. And generally speaking, nobody's really gonna notice if one's a little longer, one's a little more up. Maybe on YouTube when I'm like putting myself out here for the whole world to watch, for them to watch me do my makeup, I might get some criticism. But if you're out in your everyday life, you know, getting groceries or going out to dinner, nobody is going to say anything. Honestly, they're just gonna say your makeup looks great. So then what I do is I start in the inner corner of my eye again, I pull it back out again, and I connect the lines. And there we go. Now don't worry if it doesn't look perfect yet. We're gonna repeat this process on this side, and then I'm gonna show you some of my tricks to sort of neaten everything up. So when I'm working on my other eye, what I actually do is I start on the outer corner, bring it to the middle to inner, and then I do a separate line to get the flick. And I just find, again, as a right-handed person, it's easiest for me to move in this direction. So if I tried to do it like this, that just wouldn't work for me. And it looks pretty even. You know, it's not always perfect. I wouldn't say that, you know, today is like absolutely flawless, but I think it looks pretty good. So now we're going to put this pen away. We're not going to need it anymore. Instead, we're going to go in with a gel liner. So I'm using Urban Decay Perversion. This is in their 24/7 Glide On Pencil, waterproof, long lasting. Again, we are looking for something long lasting, and what we're going to do is tight line. So I'm going to start by, I kind of end up placing my pinky on my lip here, or like just under my lip, and then we're going to go back and forth in little tiny motions like this to cover in our waterline. So our waterline is that like little pinky part you're going to see. It's that part of your eyelid, I guess just sort of underneath your lashes. And I think it is the most important part to fill in order to have a flawless looking winged liner. So if you'll notice, I didn't do my bottom line. We're not going to do our bottom line. And then what we're gonna do is just taking our pencil, we're just gonna keep an eye if there's anywhere on the top part of the wing that's not connected. And we're just going to gently sort of tap this in just to fill it in, so that way we have a flawless black line in every direction. Now the final step to a flawless wing is how we apply our mascara. So I've actually found, I've tutored a number of my friends in how to apply their makeup, and I'm amazed at the number of women who don't know how to apply mascara properly. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna take our brush and we're gonna start and we're gonna get right into the base of the lash. So sometimes that might even be sort of curling the mascara wand back, but we are gonna get right into that base and we're gonna wiggle, 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 and then kind of flick up and out. And then we are going to put more mascara on our brush, and then we're gonna go into the middle part. We're gonna wiggle, 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 and sort of flip it out. More mascara, and again, wiggle, 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 flip and out. By this point, we're probably gonna add a little bit more mascara, and we're just going to sort of go back and forth around the lash, just sort of jiggling it in there, so that way everything is covered nicely. And then what we're going to start to do is like little flicks like this, and what we wanna make sure is that our lashes are fanned out in every direction. So the ones here, we're gonna point them this way, the ones in the middle, we're gonna point them up, and the ones on the side, we're gonna point them out. Now for our bottom lash, again, we want our eyes to look really big and open. We're just going to drag the mascara wand kind of horizontally along the lashes, and that is it. So let's repeat it on the other side. We're gonna get right close into the root and just wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. And on the way up, we sort of twist the wand out. And that's going to make sure the product on the wand distributes across the lash. Okay, so now that we're done with our eyes, we're gonna go with our bronzer. I recently picked up this LYS bronzer. I got it in a, it was like a BoxyCharm add-on. It was actually the same place that I got those Complex Culture brushes. So I've heard kind of mixed reviews of this, but that's okay. Ugh. Not liking it. Ugh. I mean, we're gonna make it work, but like, it looks muddy. It's hard to blend. Okay, this one, not a winner. So I'm not gonna lie, I was really excited to try this product because I've wanted to try LYS really ever since it came out, but this is not doing it for me. Yeah. Also kind of pulls orange. Okay. Well, that was disappointing. Anyways, this is in the shade Motivate, which is the light one. So I don't know. It's not the worst I've ever used, but I was just expecting a little more. For our blush today, we're actually using a Shop Your Stash product. I will leave my Shop My Stash video linked down below for this month. This is Patrick Ta's She's Passionate. And I kind of feel like this is a new product to me because I think I've only used it like once or twice. But both times I've used it, I've really, really enjoyed it. So this is nice. Okay, so now we're going in with my beloved Charlotte Tilbury Flawless Setting Powder. I use it in shade 1. And we're just going to sort of bring it under my eyes. We're going to be using the Lunar Nude highlighter from Pat McGrath. And then for our lipstick today, we'll be using one of Charlotte Tilbury's Lunar New Year lipsticks. So the lipstick that I decided to pick up from this collection is Only Muse, and it looked like a really, really pretty sort of orangey peach nude neutral. Okay, and here is the final look. I am so happy with how it turned out. I think it's really, really pretty. In particular, I really like how the Rebel pairs with the Only Muse lipstick. Now, as I mentioned, I've already done my first impressions on Charlotte's Beautiful Skin Foundation. And over the course of the next couple of days, couple of weeks, I don't really know, I'm going to continue to test it out, see its wear time, see how I like to wear it. So this is sort of part of the testing process for me. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you found it helpful. And if you haven't already, please subscribe because we love talking about luxury and high-end makeup here at Classy on the Run. And over the course of the next month, at some point in time, I'm going to be sharing a more in-depth review of Charlotte's brand new Beautiful Skin Foundation. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye! Mwah.